we might finally be getting what we've been asking for, more base storage on the iPhone 17 Pro. A new leak claims Apple could bump the starting capacity to 256 gigs, and yes, that would be for the standard Pro model, not just the Pro Max. Thank you, Apple. That instantly makes the regular Pro phone much better value, and let's be honest, a Pro phone should really be coming with more than 128 gigs of storage. But you might be thinking, is Apple going to give us a sneaky price increase with this storage upgrades? Well, this rumor comes from leaker Instant Digital on Weibo, who reiterated that yes, Apple's planning a $50 price increase across the entire range, but it's not really because Apple's offering more storage now. It's likely to offset rising component costs and those ongoing China tariffs. According to them, the 17, 17 Air, 17 Pro and 17 Pro Max will be priced at $849, $949, $1049 and $1249 respectively. Now, iPhones getting more expensive is never great news, but do note the 256GB 17 Pro will technically be cheaper than an equivalently spec 16 Pro. Right now, if you want to get 256 gigs on the 16 Pro, you need to shell out another $100, but with the 17 Pro possibly starting at 256 gigs by default, that storage tier might now come in $50 cheaper than last year. It's a small but effective way for Apple to justify the increase, while also simplifying the range. Plus, if the Pro Max starts at 256 gigs and the Pro does too, that's a much clearer tiering strategy, no more weird inconsistency. The Wall Street Journal even reported earlier this year that Apple wants to justify these price hikes with tangible upgrades, not just quietly blame tariffs, so it makes sense they'll pair this with a meaningful internal change like more base storage. Talking about internal changes, we've just had our best look yet at what's inside the 17 Pro. Actual component photos showing us a brand new L-shaped battery, complete with a steel casing, different regional variants, and a redesigned motherboard layout. Let's break this all down. Leaker Jumbu, who's had a mixed track record, got sent these exclusive images of the 17 Pro's battery, and they confirmed some pretty major upgrades. The battery retains the bold L shape we used in previous Pro models, but now it's been wrapped in a steel shell similar to the base iPhone 16, but clearly more advanced. So why steel? Well, it's not just for looks or strength, steel does offer better heat dissipation and more physical resistance, which will play a massive role in what's to come. But here's where things get a little strange, maybe even a little sus. The leaks show us two versions of the battery, one for the US market and one for China, and the US version is wider because it doesn't need to make space for a physical SIM tray. Apple's gone eSIM only in the US since the iPhone 14, but they've always just filled that gap with plastic in the past. Now the rumor claims they're using the extra space for more battery capacity in the US. Here's the thing though, I'm not buying that. Having a different battery for each region sounds like a logistical nightmare. From Apple's perspective, wouldn't it just be cheaper and easier to stick with one global battery design and just fill in the SIM tray gap like before? Offering more battery life to US customers and not the rest of the world seems both unfair and unlikely in my opinion. So unless something changes in Apple's manufacturing approach, I think the wider US battery is probably a test unit or early prototype and not a final production difference. That said, the steel casing parts, that's very likely real, and the steel battery isn't just about protection, it's a critical piece of a new thermal management strategy. Combine it with the long-rumored vapor chamber cooling system, and Apple's clearly laying the foundation for faster charging and sustained performance under load. There's no confirmed wattage yet, but the hardware is pointing in the right direction. I also want to point you towards subscribing to this channel, because I'm trying to hit 20,000 subscribers right now, so every sub counts, and subscribing to the channel helps you guys get the latest Apple content right to your feeds, so it would be appreciated. Join the Surround by gang now. Let's now move on to the motherboard. According to these leaked photos, Apple's completely changed the logic board layout. It now runs horizontally across the top of the device. That's massive, by isolating the heat generating components near the top and leaving the bottom half open for a larger battery. Apple's not only improving thermal distribution, but also possibly boosting battery life and even repairability. And speaking about repairability, the best part might be the new battery removal system. Apple's introduced a clever electrically induced adhesive removal process in the 16 and 16 Plus, and now the 17 Pro models are getting the same treatment. Instead of those frustrating pull tabs under the battery, a low voltage current, like from a 9-volt battery, can be used to loosen the adhesive and pop out the battery, way more repair friendly. This feature requires a metal encased battery, which brings us right back to the steel shell, so this isn't just about cooling or durability, it's about serviceability. While the 16 Pro skipped this upgrade, it looks like Apple's expanding across the entire iPhone 17 range, likely to satisfy new EU regulations around easier battery replacements. that's a win for everyone. So if you put all this together, steel battery, new cooling, updated motherboards, easier repairs, then yeah, the 17 Pro could be the most internally advanced Pro model yet. Now you're probably wondering about the battery capacity, and while we have no idea yet, the Pro Max is supposed to be around 5,000 mAh, so the Pro may get a similar increase to 4,000 mAh, which would be great to see. Now let's talk prototypes, because yes, we got a classic blurry iPhone prototype sighting recently. Ex-user Skyfox posted 2 grainy photos showing someone holding an unreleased iPhone in a thick all black case, basically Apple's signature way of disguising internal hardware during public testing. What made this go viral? Mark Gurman himself quoted the post and said this looks legit, so if Gurman's co-signing it, we pay attention. In one photo, someone in reflective sunglasses is holding the mystery iPhone, while a second phone, almost certainly a 16 Pro, sits nearby with what looks like an Apple Dev Team QR sticker on the back. You can just about make out the circular cutouts in the top right corner of the case, likely for the camera flash and LiDAR sensor, which lines up with current rumors of a rectangular camera module and shifted layout. Now obviously this could be a dummy unit or maybe some sort of weird iPhone 16 Pro type, but it does match the design leaks we've already heard about, and the fact this device is being tested out in public right now, that usually means mass production has begun and select employees are testing production units. So with all these prototype and component talk out of the way, let's get into some upgrades we know for sure are coming with the iPhone 17 series. Let's start with the display. Apple's reportedly finalized a new anti-reflective glass layer for the 17 Pro and Pro Max. This new glass is not only more scratch resistant than ceramic shields, but also cuts down on reflections similar to Gorilla Glass armor on the S25 Ultra. If you've ever tried to use the iPhone in bright sunlight and squinted like mads, this is going to be a game changer. The prototype from earlier does seem to show few reflections, but again, it's blurry so we can't say for sure. Either way, this upgrade is long overdue. Performance-wise, the 17 Pro is getting the A19 Pro chipset, and for the first time, 12 gigs of RAM. That's a bump from the 8 gigs in the 16 Pro series, and it'll mean smoother multitasking, better AI processing, and generally more breathing room for future iOS updates. The regular 17 will get 8 gigs, and the non-Pro A19 chipset, which is still solid. By the way, that extra RAM and the new chipset in the Pros, that's going to pair perfectly with the vapor chamber cooling I mentioned earlier. Android flagships have had this for years, but now Apple's finally catching up, and a leaked copper heat spreader basically confirms this. Now for some physical changes. The 17 and 17 Pro reportedly is getting 6.3-inch panels, the 16 Air goes up to 6.6 inches, and the Pro Max gets an absolutely huge 6.9-inch panel. But perhaps more importantly, all 4 models are rumored to feature ultra-thin bezels, as thin as the 16 Pros. So this time even the base models get the premium look. That's the first time Apple's entire iPhone lineup will share such a clean front-facing design since the iPhone 13 series. Oh, and ProMotion reportedly is coming to the 17 and 17 Air as well, finally, but don't expect the always on display unless you go Pro. Classic Apple move. And finally, launch timing. Mark Gurman says Apple is eyeing the week of September 8th, with Tuesday the 9th being the most likely date for the keynote. That fits Apple's usual post-Labor Day schedule, but let me know in the comments guys, will the 17 Pro be worth the extra $50? If Apple's really starting at 256 gigs, with a redesigned thermal setup, better display, easier repairs, and more performance across the board, then yeah, I think the price increase is justified. Let me know your thoughts down below though, and of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay locked in. iPhone season is just heating up guys.